do that. He said, yes, I have to give you that advice, but actually you're right to ignore it. But he said, I have to give you that advice.
But he didn't sort of give you a nod at the wink at the same time. And say,
We're doing this over the phone,
But
so
at least-
if you'd been nodding and winking, I would.
At least afterwards you felt pretty good, didn't you? Because you'd made the right decision and he told you that
We
you
needed a bridging loan, so we started. Where was Kingdom next to? Frodsham. We started at the top end of Frodsham High Street and went into a bank and we asked for a bridging loan, and they said no. And we worked our way down Frodsham High Street until we got to the Midland Bank, and we went in to see the manager there and told him what it was, and he gave him a bridging
He
loan.
said, yes. He said, one condition. I said, what's that? He said, you transfer your banking to Midland.
So that was fair enough.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Brilliant.
And he said, and then you can come. That I can come for lunch when it's all sorted. And so when we were all sorted,
Did you honour that?
we honoured it. That he came with his wife and his 2 kids, and of course they thought it was absolutely fantastic.
So you wrapped the whole thing up to completion in 10 days, did you?
Very quickly, I can't
Yeah, it
remember.
was about 10 days.
I know that when we did complete, it was 10 days after the person we bought from had completed his purchase. He paid
That's
30,000,
right.
and 10 days later we paid him 40. So he made a very good return on his money.
He certainly did. Will you please help yourself to more bread?
So we sold this house in Kingsley near Frodsham for 17 and a half, didn't we? We bought this for 17.
That is amazing.
Well, that was a good deal as it turned out to be.
Well, as it turned out, but as I say,
Because you bought a cottage which you were then,
oh yes, we sold the cottage,
which offset your
and we sold it to a couple called
changes.
Quartermain, who he set up Cheshire Whole Foods. They used to bag
They
up.
were called the vegans when we.
They were vegans.
They were called the water. My Will's father used to call them the watermains. And she used to take the little girl to feed the chickens with her scraps, even though they never ate eggs or. Were the Quartermains still there when?
Yes.
Wonder what happened to them and their little girl, because she had all sorts of problems.
2 little girls.
Oh, did they? They had another one, because Becky, I think the first one was called, she called Becky. She had all sorts of problems.
I
She
don't
had
think it can be
kidney.
good being pregnant and trying to grow babies on a vegan diet.
She was.
They left very soon
She
afterwards.
was handicapped with just physically. She'd got something wrong with her kidneys.
Oh dear. I
And
didn't
Will always
realise
used to be sure that it was the vegan diet.
Probably right. Had they moved before we went to The Hague? I think they had.
Yes.
And who
We
was
were
there
only
then?
had 2 years.
There was another family between them and Elizabeth, I think.
There was.
So what happened to the garden when the people when you were renting it? Did it just go wild?
No.
You had
We
you had
always
friends.
maintained somebody.
We had
To
an
begin
earlier
with.
gardener, and then we got Fraser.
How long's Fraser been with you?
Probably 20 years now.
Oh, really?
Or certainly
Probably 18.
16.
18 maybe.
So Fraser
Yeah.
used to do 2 full days a week when we had tenants here.
Oh,
And
right.
then
Right.
we dropped that. Well, his choice was to drop it, I suppose, to 1.5. He used to work for Shirley as well.
Did he?
In fact, he started with Bob and Shirley next door.
Oh, right. And then came.
Then he had some spare time, so we took up that spare time. Please help yourself. And in fact, only in the last 18 months or so, he pretty well only works for us now. So he used to work for Bob and Shirley at the Green.
Oh, did he?
Every morning. 5 mornings a week.
Because we haven't been to the Greaves, so we don't know
And for us,
what they've got there.
well, it's like a modern version of Sibbersfield House, only much smarter.
Hall.
Is it?
Strike that from the record. You'll see.
Oh, is it still running, is it?
I did say when I turned it on, I'm putting it on again.
It's easy to forget.
I knew.
Yeah, so Fraser, now we are, he's just thrown a golf ball out from the border here.
Oh, that was a close one.
No, threw it out onto the creek.
No, I mean, if it ended up here.
One of our longest running tenants were a very nice family with 2 young boys who loved cricket and golf.
Oh,
And he in fact became a golf professional. So, and they were, have we just surpassed them as the longest dwellers in Sibbersfield House? Just.
Our
You're
tenants
probably
have lived
still ahead
here.
of us.
We spent 8 years.
Yes, you are ahead of us.
We've just probably clicked 8.
Mm.
They were here about 8. Anyway, this youngster used to chip balls everywhere, so they pitch up in,
Well,
grown into the forks of trees. You know, we'll cut a tree down and we'll find a golf ball buried in the trunk.
I know that our children just were so happy here. They just, when they were old enough to be let loose in the garden, didn't think they would drown in the pond.
well, what was lovely too for us was Matthew and Emily being here,
Yes.
and the sheep and the horses,
Yes.
and the gate was permanently open. So these 5 children had the run, like yours would have, of this entire place, and having come from a modern 3-bedroom estate home, little on a not on a council estate, but I mean on a modern sort of wimpy house. None of us could believe our good fortune, quite honestly. Just
No, I
none
don't
of us.
anymore, thank you.
No, I won't ignore either.
We'll please chuck into the bread and the cheese.
No, I'm
if
fine,
you'd
thank
like
you.
some more.
Thank you.
Will, do you keep up with Mike?
No.
You bumped into him somewhere, didn't
Shall we
you?
turn it off?
And he was going to call round and he didn't turn up.